Welcome back to the NFL Slate show here on the 1009 Network. Week 13 of the NFL, post-Thanksgiving weekend. Mentioned on the college show, Thanksgiving week schedules got slammed. Hard to get an episode out. But we did get our picks out for you in case you saw them on Twitter. I wish we would have bet some NFL games on here for Thanksgiving because I was pretty good on them, except for the over and the Bills and the who did the Bills play? Bills and Giants. Right?
Yeah.
No, Lions. But other than that, just another weekend of college football. Another weekend of NFL. Panthers won. Shit. I think we dropped like 5 spots. We had the second, based off records, we had the second pick, and we just dropped to like 8. So that's no fun.
Yeah.
Jets beat the Bengals. Jets beat the Bears 31-10. Bengals beat the Titans 2016. Browns beat the Bucks in overtime, surprisingly.
Very, yeah.
Dolphins beat the Texans 30-15. Skipped over Thanksgiving games. Bills over Lions 28-25. Cowboys over Giants 28-20. Giants are kind of faltering. Who would have saw that coming after starting, 7-1?
6-1, yeah.
Vikings beat the Patriots. Primetime Kirk Cousins came out. 33-26. Commanders over the Falcons 19-13. Jags over Ravens 1-point win. Shout out to Trevor coming down with a last minute touchdown drive like he's probably, us Clemson fans knew he's capable of. Threw 2 dots for the touchdown and the 2-point conversion. They tried to give it away with a squib kick and said, hey, Justin Tucker, try a 67-yarder, which came up short, but if you're going to try one, that's the guy.
Right.
Your Chargers won 25-24 in Phoenix. The Raiders beat Seattle 40-34 in overtime. Did not realize that went to overtime. I think I fell asleep or something. Chiefs-Rams. Chiefs won 26-10. That was the first matchup they've had since that 140-point game or whatever BS they were on that Monday night.
Game.
Yeah. I remember we were in the 1009 house and going crazy for that game. 49ers beating the Saints in an ugly game 13-0, and then the Packers lost to the Eagles 40-33. And then on Monday night, the Steelers beat the Colts 24-17, and I hit the over like you did not believe I would do. So that wraps up last weekend. Anything that stands out to you?
Not a whole lot. A couple bigger matchups this week, I think, compared to last week. The slate was rough, at least yanking 5 out to pick, even remotely without discussion. There was a bit of a struggle, very top heavy, some solid games up top. But as far as finding 5 last week, it was a little bit of a struggle. But this week, thankfully, much easier. So
yeah, it didn't help that there were 3 games played on one night too.
Right, exactly, with playoff teams sprinkled throughout. So yeah, much easier this week, thankfully. Flipping the page from week 12 to week 13, though, early slate this week. Packers-Bears. I don't know if this has ever had less juice as a matchup, honestly. Aaron Rodgers may not play. Justin Fields banged up as well. These two teams have 7 wins total to their name, which is very odd at this point in the season, at least for Green Bay. So, that's the most 1 o'clock game ever, I think.
100%.
There's much better games to be had there. One of those games is Jets-Vikings on CBS. So will the Mike White magic continue? Commanders-Giants, a surprisingly relevant game up in the NFC East. These two teams both at 7 wins to this point. Neither one of them slated to be. So
yeah,
as far as trying to keep up with Dallas 8-3 and then Philly at 10-1, this is a huge game for them. As I think, as we sit, all 4 teams in that division are playoff positioned at this point, which will surely change as things shake out. Games like this will make that inevitable because these division matchups are going to happen. I think the Giants still have to play Philly twice, so they really need this one at home. Speaking of the NFC East, Philly hosts the Titans in a huge one in Philadelphia. Division leading Titans looking to get rolling as they find themselves a short dog on the road again, a place that Vrabel has thrived a bit, at least against the spread. So another big test for Philly as they start getting into the challenging part of their schedule after not really having a whole lot of that early on. But, they've won 10-11 to start with, so can't knock that too much.
ton of 1 o'clock games. Holy smokes.
Yeah, we're exiting bye week season. Only Arizona and your Panthers are sitting out this week.
Thank God.
So,
can't lose, but can't win.
right. Biggest game on Twitter is going to be Browns Texans. Deshaun Watson returns to Houston, returns to the NFL after a hiatus that we are all aware of the reasoning behind. So there's no need to get into that. But
well, one thing we know of 10 people that are going to be in attendance of that game.
That is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, that's raising eyebrows, but we're not going to, like you said, not going to get into that.
Yeah, it takes nothing away from their story, but to want to be front and center, watching that, Tony Busby is
weird, just
bold,
weird in general.
Just bold for that, yeah. But leaving that there, leaving the 1 o'clock slate there, we get into the middle. Only 3 games, like you mentioned.
It's 4.
I did it again. My Chargers are at the top of my NFL scores here. So, yeah, we are in Las Vegas playing the worst team in the NFL. They've somehow won back-to-back games in overtime. I don't care who's out. We can't lose this team. It is by far the worst quarterback in the division, and that division features Russell Wilson. So, Derwin James, need him healthy, cover Devontae Adams, and then, stop the run. Josh Jacobs ran for 11 billion yards on Seattle last week, so that surely can't happen again. Otherwise, we will find ourselves losing to, like I mentioned, the worst team in the NFL. So, but outside of that, another huge AFC West game. Chiefs heading to Cincinnati is a short favorite. That should be the 8 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Cowboys Colts is featured at 8:20 on NBC. Explain to me why the hell the Colts should be on prime time.
This is a rematch of the Bengals beating them twice last year.
Right. And I think the Chargers just got flexed into Sunday night for week 14, I believe. Yeah. Chiefs, Broncos getting flexed out, which how bad do you have to be as the Broncos to flex Patrick Mahomes out of an 8:20 slot? So congrats to Nathaniel Hackett on that feat that may never be accomplished again, honestly. So,
yeah.
And the game also at 4 o'clock, Dolphins Niners, that could also be an 8 o'clock contender. Are you kidding me? 2 best games of the day, in my opinion, both kicking off 20 minutes apart per usual with these middle window games. But yeah, these 2 games squarely on the picks section, which we'll get to momentarily. But Colts Cowboys at night. It is the biggest spread on the board, I believe. Cowboys laying 10.5 at home to a listless Colts team that is just trying to.
They were just in prime time too on Monday night.
Right. The Colts just trying to feel good their way to a quarterback that can throw the ball. So, not sure they love Jeff Saturday getting wins under his belt to start his tenure as interim coach, but the Steelers halted that in prime time on Thursday night, I believe it was last week. So
yes,
Colts with a rest advantage. It will not matter. They're going to get murdered. So enjoy that primetime game featuring a primetime team and the Colts. Monday, Saints Bucks, another huge juice game that because of quarterback play on one side of the ball will have really no appeal, honestly. Tampa Bay laying 3.5 at home looks like if that game wasn't on Monday, no one would watch it. But, Brady in his last season, we think, for like the 6th year in a row now, he deserves to be on prime time. Better opponent would be great for us. But
why did I look at standings?
It's
this is actually a big game.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's only really in prime time because
the Panthers are 3-1 in this division. I know the division record doesn't matter, and it's like your win-loss record.
Yeah.
But Tampa Bay's 5-6. We're 4. I swear to Christ, if we somehow find a way to make the playoffs in a year, we should be tanking. Grayson, why'd you make me look at that? Why'd you talk about the Monday night game? I wouldn't have looked at it. Oh my God.
Yeah, the under 500 division leading Tampa Bay Buccaneers and upstart rookie back Rachaad White look to protect home field and beat the Saints, whose defense has given Brady fits throughout his tenure in Tampa Bay. But I suspect, given the fact they're like allergic to scoring points, that the Buccaneers will win this one handily. But we'll leave it off as we do on Mondays.
I know we're on a bye, and I know we suck. But looking at the Panthers' schedule, there's a chance they could win out. I know we're bad. Our defense is good. At Seattle, they're a weird team. They're good.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh at home. Detroit
That's a
at
loss.
home.
Detroit, you can win.
At Tampa, at New Orleans.
Split those, maybe.
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying that we went out, but
I said preseason y'all were a playoff sleeper, and I was laughed at because of this very same schedule that we pulled up and looked at. But
it's
the
just
math
that,
is there because your division leader sits at 5-6 right now. So
yeah. Why do we do that to me? Now I kind of want to go.
You want CJ Stroud? Or you want a wild card game?
Well, we're going. We're not going to get CJ Stroud. So
No, you need to stop winning, like immediately.
yeah, that's just funny to look at.
It's usually the
That's
NFC least, but now it's the NFC most. So
that's the first time I looked really close at it. I'm like, oh crap, there's actually a chance.
yeah. Well, we have the Chiefs in our division, so I don't look at that anymore. But speaking of looking into the future, what do our records look like straight up to this point in the NFL season?
Let me find them because we had messed up a little bit.
That's true.
Or the math wasn't mathing. I forget if it was for the picks or the bets, but for the picks, it's tight at the top. Grayson is 37-23. I'm 36-24. I missed the Ravens and Bucks last weekend. Hit Bengals, Chargers, Eagles. Grayson just missed the Bucks. Hit Bengals, Jags, Chargers, Eagles. And then Jacob 29-26. He was 4-1 as well. He missed Titans but hit Jags, Browns, Chargers, Eagles. So that is what we look like going into another week of the NFL.
Yeah, this might be a first. I actually pulled 3 games of the early window. It's been pretty lopsided as far as 1 o'clock kicks versus 4 o'clock kicks, but we actually have some decent early games for once. So we'll get into some of those for the picks. Starting off, though, it's, we throw a biased game in here every week pretty much, whether it be the Panthers, the Chargers, whatever team Jacob's a fan of that week. But this week, we're going to give our guy T-Law some credit. Hopefully he'll be accompanied by Travis Etienne this week. But Jags going to Detroit. I don't think either one of these teams has any playoff hopes. They both sit at 4-7 to this point, but it should be an entertaining game with a bunch of points. That total is at 51, which is among the highest. I think the Chiefs game probably be my guess for one that would be north of that. But yeah, you think Trevor Lawrence keeps it going?
Yeah, I picked against him last week. I thought the Ravens were actually going to do it, but obviously they did not. But give me the Jags. I'm not going to go 2 weeks without betting on our boy or picking our boy.
Yeah, as a true Trevor Lawrence believer, I bet them to beat the Ravens, who are the worst clutch team in the history of organized football. Trevor Lawrence showed that. Didn't even need Travis Etienne beside him. He still drove down the field and beat them. Now the squib kick you mentioned did get Justin Tucker the closest 67-yard game-winning attempt I've ever seen in my life, because it's probably the first one that was good from like 64 probably. So, no need to get that close with the Lions this week, whose kicker is not Justin Tucker, so that will not happen again. But yeah, this should be one of those last team of the ball type deals. Should be a lot of points. Both offenses pretty potent. Detroit also sitting at 4-7, like I said, but it's not for lack of trying. They cover spreads. They play a full 60 minutes, and they score a bunch of points. So with that being said, though, I will like you take our guy Trevor Lawrence to win another one, probably close. It's a pick 'em. So yeah, give me the Jaguars.
Good pick. We're on the same page this week.
Next up, again, early slate, second of 3, I pulled Jets and Vikings, a game that has playoff implications, honestly. And, Minnesota, you would have thought that the start of the season, the Jets, probably not, but the Jets are 7-4 here. Mike White at QB, he went out and beat, I believe, Trevor Siemian, as he ended up playing. There's an oblique injury in warm-ups, and that was touch and go for a minute. But the Bears didn't pull the Chargers and stab their quarterback, but he did have a muscle strain in warm-ups, so that was touch and go. But Mike White and the Jets smoked him, so it didn't really matter. Huge step up in competition this week, though. I'm assuming it's going to be Mike White over Flacco or Zach Wilson again. I think it should be, given how he balled out last week, even against a backup and, an inferior team, honestly. So that Jets O-line is going to have to keep him upright if they want any chance of winning this game, but I don't think it happens. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm on the Vikings as well. I think they're actually a good team. They showed it last week. People thought Patriots might clip them, but it's Mike White against his Vikings defense, which is actually pretty damn good. So give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, similar to USC Notre Dame, I didn't really understand the Patriots buzz, the noise. I know it's Belichick, I know it's Kirk Cousins in prime time, but I mean, at some point, you've got to put rosters side by side. I mean, that was just laughable. Patriots have certainly had higher highs than this, but that's not happening this year. So yeah, Vikings at home. Weird spread, only -3. Bit of an eyebrow raiser, at least to me. But
Yeah.
I'll give them outright at least. Last game in the early slate we're going to look at, it's two division leaders. Titans heading to Philly to face the Eagles. Bit of a weird spread, 4.5 points in favor of Jalen Hurts. And the 10-1 Eagles. Who do you think wins this one?
With it being in Philly, I think that gives the Eagles a better advantage, obviously. I think it'd be closer if it was in Tennessee, but big test for the Eagles' new revamped rush defense. I mean, they brought in Ndamukong Suh, the guy from the Bears. I keep forgetting his name.
Robert Quinn, yeah.
Robert Quinn. Big test going against Tractor Cito, but I got the Eagles.
Yeah, you mentioned the run defense. Jordan Davis activated off IR. I don't think he'll be back this week, but that leaves a 3-week window open for him to return, so it should be soon, if not imminent. Linval Joseph, Chargers legend, another ad midweek with Sue. They actually comboed on a sack in their first game, so that duo is proving to be more than enough to plug a leak until they get Jordan Davis back, the most recent first rounder for them. But I'd be tempted in Tennessee, but I just can't. I realize Treylon Burks is back. He's been doing well, but this Philly pass defense is no joke. They're a bit banged up as well, but I just don't think that the Titans can stop all the Philly weapons. They could, I think, pick one battlefield, ground or air, and they get torched on the other one. I'll give their defense at least that much. They'll slow something down, but I don't think they can slow everything down. So weird spread, like I mentioned, but at least outright, I'll take the home favorite in the Eagles.
Yeah, smart pick.
We'll see. Dolphins and Niners, the first of two excellent middle window games that, again, is not in prime time because apparently Jeff Saturday and a 40-year-old quarterback deserve that slot more. But Dolphins in the Bay to face the Niners. Niners a 4-point home favorite. Who do you think wins this one?
I've been going back and forth with this game for the whole time, but I still don't. I don't know. I'm going to go 49ers. Like we said with the Eagles, home field advantage is big. Jimmy Garoppolo is playing good, surprisingly.
Yeah.
49ers got a lot of weapons. I mean, so do the Dolphins. 49ers got a good defense. Give me the 49ers. It's a toss-up, though, to me. 4 points is a big spread for that game, though.
Right. I think early money's pushed it 2-4. But, I mean, Elijah Mitchell out for the Niners, that's a big blow. CMC a bit banged up, as I'm sure you're used to hearing around this time of year. But I still can't get away from the better defense at home. I just can't. This Dolphins team finds ways to win games. I get that. But, I'm telling you, these Niners, they're 7-4. They're not a problem yet.
They're going to be a problem.
They're going to be a huge problem. I've been trying to kind of wake people up. They're going to run away with that division the way it's looking right now. Seattle, that's fine. That's a good story. That's not going to persist.
They're not persist next weekend.
Right, that too. So I just I've got to take the Niners at home. I don't know if I'd lay the 4 points necessarily. That's a bit tougher decision, at least for me. But I think that outright, I've got to take the better defense at home. Nick Bosa back, one of the more really just kind of unit-altering guys in the league, especially on defense. So would love to see CMC go on this one. I think Debo's good to go. Ayuk in the receiver core should be fine. But, when they have this plethora of weapons, one or two are missing, you can still get by, especially at home. And I think they continue their rise towards not just the NFC West, but the NFC picture as a whole.
Yeah.
Sounds like this one we're going to be different on, though. Last one, it's also a middle slate game, unfortunately. Chiefs-Bengals. Chiefs, a road favorite of 1.5 heading into Cincinnati, who will probably be with Jamar Chase and without Joe Mixon, if I had to guess here on Thursday evening. Chase playing is a much better bet than Mixon not at this point. But, like it always happens with these shows, we'll get much more clarity with injuries between taping and kickoff. But knowing what we do now on a Thursday, who do you think wins this game?
I did get an update a little bit earlier. One of Patrick Mahomes' weapons is now active. Juju is back. And he was starting to pick up his pace too before he got hurt. That's only going to help Mahomes even more. I like to think that the Chiefs get some revenge off of last year with what the Bengals did with them last year. So I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only out of spite, but that definitely helps motivation-wise. I'll take the short home dog here in Cincinnati. I think Chase back's really going to open up a lot of things for that offense, provided that still somehow atrocious offensive line can keep their soon-to-be $500 million quarterback upright. I think that the Chiefs defense is going to cause a good bit of issues there. No Mixon doesn't help. Samaje Perine has filled in admirably all year. I think the game he entered into, he excelled. I think he was fine last week. So this should be a big points game, I think. Maybe not that Rams-Chiefs color rush matchup we referenced back in 2019, maybe. It was like game of the century. I don't know. Excellent game. Points all over the place. One of the better games ever, honestly, as far as regular season goes in recent history. But I've picked all road teams but one now. But yeah, give me Cincinnati at home. Coin flip game. I mean, spread is a half point away from not mattering, truthfully. It's one.
I mean, I would still think this spread doesn't matter all that much either.
Yeah. ESPN show on 2, so that means it's 2 points out at Caesars. But I mean, it is what it is. I think the public will be on Kansas City if I had to guess, even with Jamar Chase being back. I think they look at no Joe Mixon potentially and just hammer the Chiefs, which, I mean, could prove to be right, but I think I'm just a bit higher on Joe Burrow than some people at this point, just what he's been able to do in this team, the start they had, how bad it was, and here they sit at 7-4 with a great chance at home to really make a statement out in the AFC. So give me the Bengals.
Yeah, don't hate that. It's going to be a great game.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of great, will you remind our tens of thousands of potential listeners about how the bets went last week in the NFL?
No, I refute. I went 1-2. I'm sitting at 11, 22, and 3. Still the push king. I hit Ravens, Jags over 43. Lost Bucks -3.5 and Chargers -3. Screw you, Grayson. Speaking of Grayson, he's barely sitting above 500 at 19 and 18. We went 3-0 last weekend. Commanders -4, Chargers, Cardinals over 48, and 49ers -9. And then Jacob is sitting at 12 and 20 and 2. He's got two pushes as well. And he lost Packers +6.5, Titans +2.5, and then Jaguars +3.5. Or he hit Jaguars +3.5.
Yeah, I mean, great for me, not so much for you. The Chargers total went over after that incredible 2-point play to all but seal a win. So great news for me. Great news for moneyline investors, but not so much those laying the short number. So on behalf of our defense, I apologize. But nuke is going to nuke, and there's only so much we can do about that. But going into this week, this is one that hopefully I will not get canceled on Twitter for. But this is a team that's offense has started to heat up as of late, and they're playing a team with literally no motivation to win. And if you want any more proof of that, they have one win to their name in 11 attempts this year. So give me the Browns -7 in Houston. Million storylines coming out of this game, but I think the biggest one is this is a good Browns roster that's been led by a below average quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. Amari Cooper has awakened even with Brissett in recent weeks. David Njoku, a talented tight end, doesn't get a lot of love, I don't think, across the NFL, but he's pretty underrated, I think. Obviously, you've got the running back duo there with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So I think that all the tools are there. They just need a quarterback to lead them. And I realized, Deshaun, with his absence from the league and, competitive football as a whole for all this time, it could be ugly in the beginning. But I joke about the Raiders and how you and Jacob picked them to win the division, and they're 4-7. But the Texans are actually the worst team in the NFL. Even at home, I don't care. This is a team that needs a quarterback. They've just about benched. I can't remember his name. Davis Mills, excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, that team is nothing at the moment. danger-wise, I don't think. They played Philly close in primetime once. That's great. They have their eyes set on this spring as opposed to this winter. And this is a Browns team who I said a month ago could win the division still. I don't know if that's going to prove to be right, but as far as that playoff mix and the expansion to 7 teams from each conference, they could slide their way into there if they get hot late. And if that's going to happen at all, it will have to start this week. And I think it starts in convincing fashion, even on the road. So, yeah, Browns -7.
I'm going to dabble back into what I tried to win last week. They let me down. Your team let me down. But this is against one of the worst teams in the league, the Raiders. Chargers sitting +1 on the road. But I still think the Chargers are better. Like you said before, Derwin James should be back. Justin Herbert still Justin Herbert. Austin Eckler still Austin Eckler. Give me the Chargers +1.
Yeah, a big injury to watch there is Corey Linsley. Did not practice today. He's one of the best centers in the NFL, so I would feel much better about that. Should he go? I'd like to think we could beat them without him, but that really is the linchpin of that offensive line. I know we've been without Slater for most of the season now, but yeah, big piece there. Hopefully we have him, even if not, for my own sanity and well-being, that you get that one right, because if not, then I'm going to be pissed. But I have to like it. I don't love it. Chargers find ways to make these games against these teams close for no reason other than to drive myself and other Chargers fans insane. So we'll see.
Yeah, I need y'all to win, please. Thank you.
I also need them. Trust me. I'm going to follow with you with a 1-point dog on the road, but I'm going to go a little further east and a little earlier. Give me the Steelers +1 in Atlanta. When TJ Watt plays, this team wins. I don't know how else to describe it. They've been heating up a bit. I realize the Colts isn't a great litmus test as far as them being good. They still sit at 4-7, trying to keep that streak of Tomlin not leading a team sub 500 alive. And games like this, even on the road, are going to be key in making that happen. Playoffs, probably not. Pickett is growing into his own role out there in Pittsburgh. Didn't start the best. The Mitch Trubisky experiment has essentially failed. So it's Pickett or bust. And thankfully it's trending towards Pickett in Pittsburgh. But this Falcons team, they just, I don't know. Kyle Pitts, their 6th offensive lineman, most formations, is out on the IR for at least another 2 weeks, I think. They have weapons on offense. They just don't use them effectively at all. Cordell Patterson's a great running back. Mariota can function as a running back. I just don't think either of those things goes well against Pittsburgh this weekend. So give me Pittsburgh +1. They'll be -110 the money line, probably. Either one. I'll take +1 just to make our tweets Sunday easier.
What was that again? Sorry. Pitt +1.
Yeah.
We talked about this game a little bit ago. The Bengals and Chiefs. We're talking about the spread really doesn't matter all that much. I still think that the Chiefs are the better team. You got Patrick Mahomes. You got weapons all over the field. He's not really replaced Tyreek Hill, but he's getting there with replacing him. I'm going to take the Chiefs -1.5. I think they bounce back from 2 losses to the Chiefs or to the Bengals. I'm reading too much. I know it's away. Cincy is kind of a tough place to play, but yeah, give me the Chiefs -1.5.
If nothing else, I respect the doubling down. We do it all the time, so I think that I can at least give you credit for that. I will not double down on my third bet because I'm going to let you have this one, but I did find an alternative. It's also a game we picked. Give me the Vikings -3 at home. I don't understand this.
Yeah. The
Dallas loss was the Dallas loss. The Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets have very little in common. I just don't get it. The Jets are a nice story. They've earned their spot there. Zach Wilson just not working there. Call it what you want. Mike White went out and looked like the kid you'd take number 2 overall at like 27 years old, I think. So, credit for him to sticking around the league and taking advantage of opportunities. He was great, and a similar fill-in role a season or 2 ago as well. So yeah, he earned a spot on that roster, and he showed why he should still be there. So I just don't think he replicates that on the road in Minnesota. The elements won't be a factor, but I just think a step up in competition will be. So yeah, give me the Vikings -3 at home. And hopefully by the time you listen to this, it's not 3.5.
Yeah. Speaking of doubling down, hello. Speaking of doubling down, I'm going to double down as well. We talked about it at the pre-show. You gave me this one instead of Pitt. I'm going to take the Jags +1. I mean, I bet against them, or bet with them last week with the over. Picked against them. Picked them this week. Trevor Lawrence is playing good football right now. Travis coming back. Hopefully, he's going to improve that. Give me the Jags +1. This is the Lions. I know it's going to be a close game, but give me the Jags.
Yeah, should be a lot of points. Like I mentioned before, could be last team with the ball type game. ETN was adamant post game and through the media this week that he's going to play. So more precaution. He sat out last week, thankfully. And Trevor, honestly, one of his, if not his best game as a pro last week, even without him. So just adding that dynamic piece of the offense back should propel them to a win. So I like that pick a lot.
Yeah. So those are our bets and picks for week 13 of the NFL. Do with those what you would like. We're obviously going to continue the NFL Slate show with them there being 5 more weeks, basically. We mentioned in the college show that the college football Slate show is probably ending considerable. We'll probably do something here and there, but NFL will continue. I have been doing the math, and we actually do have Jacob's record wrong. We messed up some part because dumb math. But I'm going back through and trying to get the correct record, so we'll get that fixed. But yeah, that actually might affect some things. If not, maybe. Who knows? But you got anything else?
No, that's it for me. Got a good feeling about our picks and the bets, honestly. We were pretty much on the same page in the pre-show, so hopefully that leads to good things, and we get you that much closer to 500 on the bets, and we stay rolling with the picks.
Yeah, let's do that. I like that.
But yeah, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, y'all know. Picks, Twitter, at the 1009. That's pretty much it.
We'll get those fixed. This is
subscribe.